morning, everyone. And thank you to Ankit and Harish and Pawan for being here with us today. So we've been listening to different, avenues of how AI is relevant. But I think it's fairly clear that AI is very deeply entrenched in the sphere of marketing with a variety of applications from, generative content to understanding large sets of data to innovation and so on and so forth, right? I want to begin by asking all of you, what is the role of the human element in this new world where AI is expected or is already playing such a critical part in marketing? Any one of you?
Right. Okay. I'll start. So look, I think it was very insightful. The sessions before us pretty much covered the entire landscape of AI use cases per se. But let me, before we get into use cases, take a step back, right? And I'll share a mortal fear that I have when it comes to AI, right? And it's nothing to do with marketing per se. But when one looks at, let's go a little back into history. And when the net started out, the internet started out, it was populated by a lot of content that human beings as a species had created, which got uploaded, right? Over time, of course, we refreshed it and so on and so forth. I think we are now at a space where that content is going to get supplemented in a very big way by machine-generated content, overlaid with a lot of human bias, right? And my fear is that the third step, which we are a little far away from maybe, but it's definitely on the way, is for that same machine-generated content to get regurgitated to create more machine-generated content, right? And therefore, are we at risk of actually, and all of us have heard of this term called echo chambers on social media, right? Where your algorithm keeps throwing more of what you want to hear, and therefore makes you believe that the worldview that you hold is the way the world is. Are we at risk now of entering a larger or creating a larger echo chamber that threatens to engulf us as humanity, right? And that's really where I think marketing has its own small little part to play, right? Because the three things that define humanity, that differentiate humanity, are essentially around imagination. And one can argue that imagination is something that's getting challenged by AI. But I would like to believe that there is still a base level of imagination that the human species brings in, that AI builds on. But the other two are around empathy and hope, right? And these are human traits that today AI cannot really generate. Yeah, it has no way of really building on. And as marketeers, I think these are the traits that actually make our brands relevant to our consumers, right? All brands are built around trying to solve pain, a need gap, a space that, exists in the consumer's mind more than their material need, right? And therefore, is there a role for marketers to actually take a step back and look at what is it that you want to drive in these spaces? And AI becomes a tool to actually help you generate stuff faster, better, all of that. But I think one needs to keep these in mind so that you don't get completely carried away by the tool rather than what the tool can help you do.
That's really beautiful, Ankit. Thank you.
I was pretty impressed with the last slide that we saw in the session, which said 10, 20, and 70 preference. Whatever technology that comes in, it's mainly humans who kind of need to be trained and need to run the whole system. Any AI technology that comes in, first, as humans, we need to kind of educate ourselves how to use it. And that's how you kind of uncomplicate the entire process. So process people are at the core, and then the technology comes in. So the technology keeps changing. It's humans who need to kind of keep upgrading themselves and kind of coming up with processes that could deliver excellence. And in future, we would see more such technologies coming in across, not just in marketing, but in every process. And there are humans who are going to use it, and it's for the betterment of the consumer that you're looking at.
Pawan.
Can you repeat the question, because I got lost in the trail of thoughts?
Sure. So the question is, how do humans beings basically, what is their role in the sphere of marketing, given that, there is AI that is capable of doing so much?
I was actually kidding. The whole idea was our attention span is reduced to such an extent that we tend to start following what we start viewing, start reading, or start listening to. And what I wanted to make a point out here is we as humans, or as marketers in our own field, we need to not only get the attention of the people, but also, or the consumers, but also important to make them remember us for what reason they came to us, or for what reason we went to them for. And with all of technology, or I call it technology, I don't want to label it as an AI as of now, but what the advancement of technology has done is it's reduced our attention span, A. It also has given the flexibility of switching between topics, genres, whatever you want to learn about or read about or want to inquire about, and the speed at which it's getting supplemented by the information. And that is where I feel it's important for us to be cognizant of the fact that we remember what we came for and what we were looking for. And as a marketer, it is important for us, what do we stand for and what we want the consumer to remember us for. And that is where the most important critical role we have to balance it out.
So if I can sum up, we can't get purpose, we can't get values, we can't get imagination and hope from AI, and that's the role we play. But as marketers, we can leverage AI to to generate creatives and to drive innovation. Would you share some experiences of how you are already doing that, or how you're planning to do that?
So, look, I think we've all played with the B2C AI, as I call it, right? And we've started experimenting with some of what got covered in the earlier session, which is to say, can I personalize for geography, for weather conditions? Can I create hundreds of cohorts? Can I therefore customize the way I engage with those cohorts and so on? I think the more interesting pieces for me are around the B2B AI, as I call it, right? Because there is a very strong element that goes beyond just the front-facing output that you see on creative. One example that I would like to quote here is, recently we had a team, which was working on an insight to concept that they were trying to create for one of our brands. And typically that work tends to take a couple of weeks, right? Because it starts from the inside, understanding consumer category codes, competition, etc., then laying it out together, figuring out your differentiated space, etc., and then putting it together into a concept. Believe you me, we had a young brand manager who started working on this using a free tool. All of 3 hours, he had a concept ready, right? And this happened because he was able to draw on so much knowledge in such a refined manner, and not refined because of his prompts. The 3 hours was actually him experimenting with prompts. I believe now the next time he does it, he'll be able to do it in an hour and maybe half an hour as it goes forward. But the point I'm making is that there is so much more to explore, right? And there are so many other use cases beyond the literal creative speed that AI gives you, right? So that's really the exciting piece for me.
Harish?
See, whatever creativity you kind of come up with and personalization that you want to do, it needs to be at scale, right? And that could only happen if you're using technology to kind of deliver. We've successfully done for one of the FMCG brands where we were able to create personalized experiences for the consumers who are coming in, interacting with the brand, with the product, and like upwards of 1 million personalized assets could be created, and that too just over a period of few minutes. You interact with the product and then you see a personalized experience being delivered within minutes. So the scale at which we could create was possible only at the technology that was available. So personalization is the key, but it needs to be done at mass, or else restricting it to a smaller audience is not doing justice. The reason for getting technology in is to reach out to a wider, larger audience and create personalized experience for them. And we've been doing it for some of the brands. And what we've realized is there is a way to kind of grow it further. And it needs to be thought through in a very detailed manner. And that's where process comes into picture. How is it that you need to look at it end to end and deliver it at scale? Or else it could hamper your entire experience and it could come back biting.
Right. So from a personal experience point of view, what we have adopted is more on the lines of looking at the small data. People talk about big data, but we are looking at the small data. These are the behavioral data which consumer experiences on your digital platforms, whether it be an app or a website. And this helps us in understanding what are the pain points of a consumer journey, how do you resolve them. And earlier, I would say about a couple of years ago, there were multiple partners, multiple agencies who would help us do this thing. There were multiple tools which were there, and there used to be multiple teams sitting across, product teams, QA, QC teams, trying to understand the whole pattern about it. Today, I can do the job in like 15 minutes, pull up a report and tell which page is not performing, whether it's a SEO part of it, whether it's the paid side of it, which app screen is not responsive, and where the maximum drop-offs are happening. And this is a very simple example which I'm picking up, which we have done by looking at the small data part of it, like what the people are scrolling through or browsing through the cursor movements and all, but also trying to understand at what time of the day are they trying to interact with us. We are from an investment side, so definitely people generally tend to come on our platforms before 3:30, before the market closes. But the important part is, at that point in time, am I able to create some sort of a communication which is relevant to the person, depending upon the fund, depending upon the investment tool or instrument the person selects. And that's where we have been able to do better compared to, I would say, the competitors in the market. And we don't try to sound pushy. There's no sales angle associated, but it's the right sort of information which is available for the consumers or the customers to take the call, whether they want to invest or not.
So, Ankit, Pawan, you shared examples of how you are leveraging AI from from starting with concept creation and to taking it to customer experience and understanding how your customers are interacting with different aspects of their journey and their experience. Harish, you spoke about how you are using it to create personalization for clients, right? So today, if you look at the media world, there are multiple platforms and publishers who are leveraging AI in different ways, right? For instance, at glance, we look at AI for understanding user content consumption patterns, time of day, categories, subcategories, so on and so forth, right? And all of this can be leveraged to deliver campaigns in a way that improve ROIs for our clients, right? We also leverage AI to see how we can innovate with creatives, how we can deliver personalization with creatives, right? And we're using a few tools to be able to deliver that experience. I'd like to understand from all of you, how are you engaging with such platforms or publishers and incorporating their strengths when you're creating media plans?
All right. So, look, like I said, I think it's the age of experimentation. Honestly, do brands have answers today? Not really. Brands are floundering as much as the next publisher. And it's about a partnership, right? It's about figuring out what is the strength that the platform brings to the table, what is it that they're experimenting with, and then going out and having some fun together, right? And seeing if we are able to hit the business objectives that we set out to. So that's really the broad approach that we've taken. And, because honestly, every platform has a very, very different approach, as it rightly should, right? In your case, given that content is so important, you're using AI to figure out engagement on content and then pass the content back to that engagement back to brands. Now, there could be another platform where, it's just about ensuring its display of a very high quality of personalization that helps them get that engagement. So, like I said, there are different ways in which different partners are trying to access the space, and we're pretty much experimenting with them as they go along.
So experimentation is the key to creating a path.
As Ankit rightly mentioned, right? A lot of brands have started coming back saying that when you are designing your media plan, right? They say keep some budget aside for experimentation. Look for platforms who are coming up with certain stuff which is very different, and they always keep a test and learn phase, right? Most of the brands say it's not the first time that we would get it right. You keep doing it over a period of time, see what is it that we are doing incorrectly for us to deliver things in a right manner. And that's where a lot of platforms, because they understand the consumer journey on their platform, they've been able to come back with solutions that work for brands specifically. And that's how customization of various things have started. And over a period of time, we've also seen that there are multiple players who've come on with a promise. Only few have been able to deliver. And Glance is one of them who's been trying it over a period of time. And we've not got things right at the first time, but over a period of time, we've cracked it. And now we know what works, what doesn't work.
So I believe partners and platforms play a very critical role in helping us grow business. Every company has, or every organization has their own set of tech teams available at their own products or infra to be developed. But according to me, I feel if the whole ecosystem of partners and associates are getting developed over a period of time and are evolving, that only strengthens my network. That only strengthens us to do better, brings in the right set of competitive spirit, and also the advancements in terms of technology which we want to do from an implementation standpoint of view is the adoption of technology. And we have run campaigns through Glance for sure, definitely, and we have seen good success, and we keep experimenting. Since I had the whole B2C, I look at from a very simple perspective is investing is not easy for most. I'm sure people in this room would agree to disagree, but the point is it's not easy. I'm in the industry, but I still struggle to do it and catch up with the trends. And how can I create a consumer journey? How can I bring that communication to the right set of people at that right point? My channels are limited, like my competitors have, but it's my partners who enable me to do more. And that's where I feel if the partners are technologically evolved and have adopted AI and have a great use case which can help me deliver my certain objectives, that is where we all should be looking forward to. So, yeah.
Okay, so what would you leave this room with? What are 3 tips that you would like to share, which would enable, adopting AI in a format that was complementary and beneficial and synergistic with what is the current marketing construct for each of your respective organizations and roles?
Sure. So the top 3 things that I would leave behind. The first one is experiment. I think it's a fresh new space. Everyone's in as fresh as you are, and everyone's trying out stuff. So as long as you set clear KPIs, as long as you know what you're going after, it's good to experiment, start slow and then scale up. That's the first one. The second one is don't take yourself too seriously, right? We tend to really get caught up and say that, if I invest behind something, I am so invested behind it that I can't have fun with it. I can't really experiment beyond a point. So don't take yourself too seriously for sure. The third and the last piece of advice is that AI, while the glamorous part of AI is the B2C AI or the front-facing AI, there is a lot beneath the surface, what I call the B2B AI, right? It could be about sales analytics, predictive per outlet sales trends, etc. And there is a lot of meat over there. So please keep that in mind. Please look at AI as not just B2C, but also B2B, and explore both facets of that technology.
Applications in business process, and again, analyzing large sets of data, whether from a consumer lens, whether from a sales lens and the sales channel lens. Sure.
I mean, few things that I would say is investing in technology is the first thing that everyone needs to look at it, because it might look like an investment, but it's basically upscaling yourself for doing a whole lot of things at an ease. And that's where a lot of brands or companies think twice before what's the ROI that comes behind every investment, right? So investing and training our people to run it. That's because a lot of places it fails purely because you've taken on certain technology and you're not using it to the core and to deliver the output that you're looking for. The other piece is from a marketing angle. You need to look at the journey and basis that personalized communication going forward, and that's what is going to help you deliver better. And those are certain things that you need to look for. And technology is going to keep changing, and you need to look at what works for your business well and accordingly adapt and use them in the line of business that you want to see in a success.
So I have a bunch of things, and the last point I want to give credit to Monica for sharing that word. But then I'll start from the first point. I want the marketers out in the room to do different, do less, and whatever they do, they should do good. That's first. Second, with the whole advent of AI, as a marketer, and that's my personal opinion, we need to be responsible marketers. We need to be ethical. We need to have the right set of investments in the people, because technology, yes, we will be doing, but I personally believe that we need to invest in people by reskilling them, upskilling them, giving them the opportunity to do better, to do different, and reinvent the whole strategy the way we are doing and we are looking at the business. And the last is embrace the change with a pinch of gray. And that's where I want to end it.
Thank you, Pawan, Harish, and Ankit so much for your time. And thank you, Monica and MMA, for having us here.